I hate doing new setups. I do. Oh crap! One second.
Don't blame you. All right.
I mean, it's in part why we need a studio, and we need like people we can hire to like make this super simple.
Like audio engineer or something?
Yeah,
Or what do you mean?
just people who know how to do like production related configurations and setups and like I don't want to make this like a comparison thing, but um, Joe Rogan, he has Jamie. Jamie does all the audio and management of
Okay.
production stuff. I want a Jamie. I want to go buy Jamie
Like
from Joe Rogan.
an audio lackey.
Yeah.
Jamie, pull it up on the screen.
I've actually not listened to any of his most recent podcasts after he left YouTube. I'm just not a fan of Spotify.
Gotcha. I don't think I've ever seen Jamie's face. I don't even think he exists.
He's an AI.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of got screwed a bit there with Spotify as well. What I'm hearing. It's been a
Yeah.
while that I've checked up on this situation.
Ditto. But I mean, worst case scenario, if they break their contract with him, then I mean, he keeps his money. You can swap back to YouTube if he wants, etc. The important thing is, so long as that contract is nice. So.
Yeah, me kind of seeing how Joe is, I have a feeling he'd probably just start up his own website and do his own thing.
Yep. And I know we haven't officially started. Like we are recording, and like video is going now as well. And before we actually dive into real topics, I'll quickly bring up the show notes. I will say, politics and stuff aside, because the whole thing with Trump and being kicked off multiple platforms, yada yada yada, I do consider Trump to be a special case because he's the president and the type of figure that he is. But in a genuine case, I think Louis Rossmann said it best. Whereas say he truly did fall in line of breaking Twitter's terms of services, so they banned him from Twitter. That makes sense. But then for other platforms to go, well, Twitter banned him, so now we're going to ban him from our platforms, even though he has yet to potentially, unless he has, but they haven't said that he has broken rules on their platform, and that it brings up that bigger, scarier picture. And this goes back to what you and I talked about last year with what's his name, prominent podcaster that got like booted from all platforms. Older guy, philosophy.
Yeah, Stefan. Yeah,
yes.
Still so pretty pissed off about that. Well, no, I'm kind of over it. It's kind of just like, well, it's probably for the best, actually.
Yeah.
He has his own platform.
As also Louis Rossmann pointed out, that the more this happens, the more competition that you will bring. And I think Rossmann actually does a really nice way of kind of like painting the picture, pointing out the potential problems, and also pointing out that, yes, those platforms have a right to manage their platforms the way they see fit because it's their platform. The problem comes around that these platforms are typically either the platform themselves or a part of a bigger platform that has a near monopoly hold on platforms or the internet or web spaces or social media, and that stigmatizes or at least stagnates competition. And it's funny because this is what happens with Facebook when they bought WhatsApp and they promised to not absorb them and let them still maintain themselves as their own entity. And recently there's like, oh hey, you use WhatsApp, you got to fuse your Facebook information now, and it's going to be on our servers. And it's like, no, no. I'm going to
see, yeah, that was pretty funny. How that happened, and took Signal down, but I think it's coming back. I don't see that little message anymore, I believe. And open it? No. So it looks like they're back up. Yeah, no, the thing that bugs me more is that just I mean, yeah, they could do whatever they want, right? They're their own independent companies. It just bugs me how like petty they are about like things things like that, like political ideology. I'm like, okay, fine, like we could like do that, but like just be upfront of it, and, like put it like in your TOS,
Yeah.
so then like people don't get the platform in the first place, and people can go somewhere else. And then everyone has this camp for this camp for that, and it's just free from that whole dumping people off. That's my issue with it. And then the thing with like Trump, see like I know the way Jack Dorsey leans and how most of the people lean in like Twitter because they're in like Silicon Valley, and this kind of like I want to say like a hive mind of ideology over there. Like they all lean a certain way, and they've already like publicly said that there's a strong um, there's a strong chance he's going to get booted off like January 20th or like 21st. When his term ends.
Yeah.
And I just felt like they used like the Capitol thing as an excuse to like eat him off earlier. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, it's not like you guys wouldn't have done it like in 2 weeks anyway. I kind of saw it coming. So yeah.
To give them credit though, it does feel like they let him push the bar really, really, really far. But yeah, it is what it is. And also, I do want to point out a big difference as well. And again, it's only natural that our first episode back for the year 2020 part 2 for season 2, to be kind of starting off with the controversial, landscape. I don't want that to be here, but I do also feel that it's quite important. Because I found out recently that Parler got kicked off of AWS, and that's a bigger issue because AWS is not like it's not a what is it? It's not a platform. It's a service. So there are differences between cloud hosting and being on a social platform, and also. And cool. Again, I think Amazon does have a right to say, it's our platform. If we want you off of it, we'll take you off of it. But again, because of the different stipulations of what kind of business AW is as opposed to a social media platform, the bare minimum, I think, would be you should give people a heads up so they can get their stuff and move. And there are a lot of people who are criticizing Parler for having all their eggs in one basket. And yeah, that's true. That's a fair criticism. That does not change the fact that Amazon just went, get off my platform, no heads up, completely pushed you off, and just went, wipe my hands of the situation. And I don't think that's
It
cool.
reminds me of that. It reminds me of that like thing I sent you about like the Apple and the certificate being revoked from that one developer,
Yeah.
and then no one could open. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. But I mean, the issue I have with the whole Amazon Parler thing is like how they're just not upfront. Because again, Amazon leans a certain way as well. Bezos like has stock in Washington Post. Washington Post definitely leans a certain way. And so like the problem I have is like if you just don't like their politics and don't want to host their stuff, just be upfront about it. Like okay, like it's with like this whole wishy-washy corporate speak. Oh, they like had some content that they didn't remove this and that. So here's the thing. When you go to like a news website, they'll say it's because Parler didn't remove like the edgy content, and people were like plotting stuff like on Parler, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then Parler says, no, we removed that content. We don't want it in there because that's illegal. On Parler, you can post whatever you want as long as it's not illegal. And planning something like that is indeed illegal. So Parler said, no, we did remove it. And then Amazon's statement, when you go to the official page, they claim that they just didn't like the way Parler moderated, and they don't think they're going to do a good job. So that's why they booted them. But all the news outlets are saying, oh, it's because Parler didn't remove it. But that's not the case. And Amazon like said that themselves, but like twisting it. And I know why Amazon deleted it, but like they're lying, and like all these news people are like lying. It's like annoying. I'm like, well, what should I expect? Like I shouldn't even be angry because that's just kind of how like it is.
Yeah.
But it's dumb how petty like people can be. Like AWS and Nod and like Twilio, their SMS verification service,
Mm.
also booted them out. And I forget what other company also said nah, and then there goes their service.
Mm. And so I do want to make a quick, really quick point to the audience listening and watching, which is still so weird. I'm looking at the camera now, and it's so weird. Um, Look, so we don't want to also come off as saying like, oh, fake news, fake media, blah 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 blah. But yeah, no, everyone knows that recent. I don't even want to say well, no, journalism in general as well for like the last 10 to 20 years have been in a very clear, observant decline in integrity, a decline in a form, and essentially kind of dissolving on itself. And a lot of that is due to the press no longer being this, we're doing this for the information. And to be fair, bias or political filtering of news media has always existed. I mean, far back to the days of like, I almost said Benjamin Button. What is his name? $100 Bill Man.
Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin, thank you. All the way back then, humans are biased. That's welcome to humanity, right? So when we say things like media lying, yeah, they are, because they're spinning tales, they're spinning titles and headlines that get them the more views, more viewers, because it's no longer about the information. It's mostly about an income. They're a business. They got to keep running. I get that. I respect that. And that just kind of taps at the window of the whole notion of the capitalistic downfall of certain things. And it could also be the fact that I'm knocking my way to 30 in a couple of years, and I'm just getting more senile as the time goes. But essentially, just don't trust a single one source of media. Also, like, always go in and check the sources. Always go in and check the facts. Go straight to the source, that being AWS. AWS clearly stated why they did it, as compared to why news media outlets say they did it, etc. And I'll even go a step further, because due to recent events, I have been glued to the news more often than I want to be or usually am. You can clearly see that a lot of the anchors are not vested in how to traverse the internet. The internet itself is becoming so wild, wild in terms of, like, I can't even describe it. If people who are under the age of 55 may be able to grasp what I'm thinking, but the internet has become to such a state where, no, I don't think certain newscasters can distinguish satire from satire, or a meme from reality, or fake, or just misinformation in general. And I don't mean purposely misinformed information, or however you want to piece it together. But okay, essentially, you heard about like the hashtag of off the fly zone, right? Or like the flight ticket or flight log. What is it?
I don't know. I don't think I heard about that one.
Essentially, a lot of people who were at the event can't get on planes anymore because their name's been added to a FBI list and they can't fly. And so, like, people are tweeting out videos of people being pulled away from the airport, and arrested, or just can't fly. Some of those are recent. Some of them are actually accurate. But some of the most popular ones were like one dude who's being handcuffed in the airport, and the guy screams, "You're treating me like a black person." And of course, they, with all the political things in the air right now, they associated that to the electoral college riot thing. That was from like 2018, where a drunk man was being belligerent in the airport. And I believe it was like right after the Eric Garner incident. So, basically someone found an old video, thought it was recent, posted it. I don't know if it was, on purpose, or they just literally thought because airport and the video that I'm seeing, it must be recent. And I saw like a few actual news outlets sharing that video.
See, I don't think I saw that video either. The airport of 2018 of the guy being arrested. But I do think that's like part of a bigger issue, because no one really knows how they get put on the no-fly list. I remember going to Black Hat a few years ago, and people who were at Black Hat, who were speakers, were like, yeah, apparently I'm on the no-fly list, and I found that out right as I was about to board, and now I had to drive all the way. That's why I'm late. Just people don't know how they get on there, and then obviously they don't know how to get off because they don't know how they even got on there.
Oh, dude. There's actually a really cool story about urban spelunkers. And how a dude ended up on the no-flight list, but was like out of country. So there was like literally no like other than like boat, and like no boats would take him either. And so he got arrested in London because like he was exploring.
What?
It's a whole weird, he's one of the people who go to like abandoned sewer shafts that lead into tunnels that were created like 300 years ago for whatever purpose. And he was in like I think France or somewhere in it was like France, London, and a few other locations, just exploring older tunnels. And he had got into one old ancient tunnel in London, and him and his team like uncovered this manhole cap metal thing, and he unlocked it, opened it, and poked his head through. And he's talking about how he heard like a weird and he turned around and saw like a camera turning and looking at him. And when he said, he went, "Oh no." He had essentially went from the ancient tunnels, I won't say ancient, but the abandoned centuries old tunnels, and accidentally got into the area where the British government had laid the fiber optic cables for like the Secret Service there.
They're what do they call it? They're MI6, I think it's called, the British one.
"James, I'm sending you to find an intruder. He's in the manhole covers, James." "I'm on it, my queen." Or, oh no, it's mum. 007 is on the case.
Oh, correction. I guess they renamed it to SIS now, not MI6. MI6 is apparently a defunct name. It's the Secret Intelligence Service. But whatever. MI6 sounds more cool. It's a code word.
This is how the world coming to an end. Not the riots, not the political warfare, but the changing of cool names. Oh, okay. That was a weird 20-minute cold open. That's sorry for the tangent, Lewis, and sorry for the tangent, listeners and viewers. So I guess cold open.
That's essentially how I feel about life. Full of loneliness and misery and suffering and unhappiness, and it's all over much too quickly. The question is, have I learned anything about life?
We're in it. Season 2 here right now. We're live. We're in this thing. I wanted to have a cup of coffee when we did this episode, but because of the most recent events and because of just everything has been crazy, I had the idea of starting 2021 off on a good foot. Everything is looking up with the vaccine for COVID on the way and all of that jazz, and then just stuff after stuff after stuff just kept happening. So instead, I'm you can still call this coffee. It's dark enough to be coffee. Now I'm gonna say this is coffee for YouTube, even though we are no longer YouTube partners. So it's not like we can lose our monetization anyway because it's already gone.
It's all right. I don't think many people can say that they're YouTube partners anymore.
That is actually freaking accurate. Like it's also weird because a lot of people who used to depend on Patreon and the YouTube join feature, where someone literally pays monthly for their subscription to support YouTube or whatever. People aren't even pushing that hard anymore. I think they're just like, look, we have merch, we have a Patreon, we have GoFundMe, etc. At this point, we're all just working to just bring you the content. But we had a whole list of a lot of things that happened, from October 2020 all the way up to like January 5th, 2021. And we had to take all of that and pushed it off to the side for future episodes because we learned that CES was this week and Samsung Unpacked was this week. And there was Tesla news this week and a bunch of other stuff this week. So we kind of already covered a bit about Facebook, kind of. I guess we can go further more into that in a future episode, specifically with Facebook and their weird handling of data. There's some Nintendo news too, but we'll cover that in another episode as well. Cyberpunk 2077 and CD Projekt Red is literally on fire. Matter of fact, today, the day of recording this, more news came out with Cyberpunk Studios, CD Projekt Red, about them lying to not investors. Investors knew what was going on. I promise you, investors knew what was going on, because investors, they go like per month to figure out what's going on, and then they say, I want this, or we'll pull funding. And I guarantee you, a lot of the bad decisions that CD Projekt Red has made was due to investors going, make this happen. But let me calm down before I go on a rant about Cyberpunk, and CD Projekt Red. But lying to their users with like the video showcase back in 2018 was apparently all faked. Like, well, not faked is a weird term to use, but it was, the video showcasing the gameplay was created under their understanding that this was not actually a part of the game mechanics, because at that time, apparently, the game mechanics platform wasn't even finished being developed, and they still had no idea what they were going to finalize on concretely. So, but again, we'll cover that in a future video. We've burnt so much time. I guess we can quickly try to get through the original first half of what we wanted. It should actually be okay, because I think the CES and Samsung things are not going to be that long as I expected, because there weren't a lot of stuff. So I guess the guy who loses a metric guano ton of money through Bitcoins because he forgot his password to his crypto wallet. Lewis, how does that happen?
Yeah, maybe didn't think crypto would be worth that much now, or at least Bitcoin. Right now it's I think there was 37,000 last I checked. Let's see. Right now it is, how many Bitcoin do you have? Like 5 or 7?
Oh no, it was enough to have him rated at $200 million or somewhere around there.
Yeah, right now Bitcoin's at 36,000. So he's got quite a bunch in there. And I think you mentioned that it's it'll wipe itself or delete itself or something after so many incorrect tries, right?
Yeah, after 10 incorrect password attempts, it will wipe the crypto wallet.
Yeah, I might as well just count him lost. There's no way I think he's gonna get him back. If he had infinite tries, then you might have a chance. But sorry, dude. Just start reinvesting, or just I don't know, try penny stocks. Maybe that's more your thing. Sorry,
Probably.
dude.
Yeah, dude, like I think he recently, and again, breaking news from today or yesterday, he recently went on some other type of interview and said that he has finally made peace with the fact that he will not be able to get that money. But I can tell you how this happened, and this is because he hasn't utilized any password managers like LastPass or Dash. I'm joking. We are not sponsored at all. But no, generally speaking, if you're gonna have some type of account that important, even if you don't think it's important now, if you use any type of account management or something that has passwords, and password is very complex, that you will not remember it or have no chance of remembering it, use a password manager. Personally, I use LastPass. Lewis, I think you used to use Dashlane, but I think you've moved on to something else.
Yeah, I used 1Password. I just like their interface better. And the neat thing about LastPass is that I could use it without the need of a desktop app, which is pretty good, because a lot of people don't make desktop apps for Linux, and that's mainly what I use nowadays.
I think like I don't want to use LastPass as much as I do currently. The main reason why I stuck with it, excuse me, is essentially because LastPass gives you, and again, I feel weird saying this because like I'm kind of shilling for them, even though we're not sponsored by them, and personally I am a little weary. Like, they haven't showcased in any actions to make me truly suspicious of them, but LastPass gives you the option to, you can go to the website and log into your secure vault to get all your password information and store your other, card information, addresses, contacts, yada, yada, yada. But you can also use the Android app your iOS app, and etc. And now, unlike it was, I think 6 or 7 years ago, you don't have to pay a yearly fee to have multiple device access. So you can use those apps and the web browser and the extension, etc., all on their free tier. And for me, who also use complex passwords on accounts that are only managed through like your phone app, I did not want to have to pull up a tool on the laptop or a browser and then try to get it over to my phone or type it by hand as I look at the screen while typing the password on the phone. LastPass does a good job simplifying that need. So give it a look, find your password manager, but use a password manager. And as much as possible, you've probably been told this so many times. If not, I don't know who your friends are, but don't use the same password for other things. Have as many different passwords for different platforms, services, accounts, etc. It's not just because about things are easy to guess, but if one spot, if one tool, one application that you use get compromised and they get a hold of your username and or email and that password, they will try it on other platforms, apps, etc. Even if they've never had a breach, even if they've never been compromised, but you using the same password and the same email address on another platform just makes your stuff all that more weak, or I guess weaker. Proper grammar, take it or leave it. You know who I don't think uses proper password management, Lewis?
Who's that?
Elon Musk. I swear, I promise you, if you just do it's your homeboy Elon at gmail.com, password Tesla rocks, I'm pretty sure you can get into any of his accounts. I guarantee it. Elon, if that's truly your information, I'm so sorry.
It's changing it as we speak.
Yeah, your homie Elon is now considered. It's still up for debate. I think one of the I think Bloomberg actually is the one who's trying to contest it, but he's either the number 1 or number 2 most richest man on the planet currently.
I mean, number 2 is still a pretty good spot though. I'd live with that. I'd be happy with that. Number 2, all right.
I joked about it with you the other day, that we finally have a cool guy or someone who is the most cool, the most cool a richest person on the planet has. Well, there was actually that one guy from was it Arabia? I want to say 10 centuries ago.
I don't know. I haven't kept track that long ago.
So I think cause there's an individual who I think he has the record of being the most richest ever in history of time. He was some type of Arabian royalty who essentially, if I remember this correctly, which is the beast on the Silk Trade or the Silk Road, and when I say Silk Road, I mean the first literal Silk Road, not the modern, underground nefarious dealings.
I thought that was John D. Rockefeller. I guess I'm not up to date with that then.
Hold on, let me see if I can find him. Silk Road, richest person who ever lived. I want to say some bad things about Rockefeller, but I don't want to get assassinated. Oh yeah, Mansa Musa, I think was I think he was the one, right? Mansa Musa, richest man in history.
What do you sell? Fine silk.
I was gonna say opium, but no. I don't really know. Let's see, richest man in history. I'm looking at ancientorigins.net. That's probably not a good, credible website. But he's the one that apparently expanded the Mali Empire, conquering 24 cities and their surrounding areas. He died around. Oh my God! If this is accurate, if this is accurate, Lewis, he died around the year 1337 AD.
I mean, probably didn't mean much back then, but it's still pretty cool.
Homie was elite. He was the elitist. Oh, not just the richest man on the planet in history, but he was also the elitist man on this planet in history. Oh, he was African.
Not bad, not bad. Learned something new today.
Yeah. Again, only if that is actually true. And like when dealing with ancient history, you also got to take into account that we're only going based off of what we know or have found that has been logged. It could be possible that someone was like 3 times richer than this guy and just like never wrote down anything, like ever. It's possible.
True. Yeah. Recorded history.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I want my name to be Mansa Musa. That's so cool. Anyway, though, more Tesla news. Even though he is Elon Musk is now supposedly the richest man on the planet, or at least top 2. I don't think it'll last long because Tesla has just been hit with a declaration to recall like 158,000 Tesla Model S's and X's.
That's a bummer. Well, maybe he'll make up the money in that new Starlink internet effort it's starting actually to roll out. And from what I've heard, it's about $100 a month that they charge, and you get about 70 to 120 down, and 18 to 22 megabytes per second up, and the latency is like about 20 milliseconds, and I think that's pretty good for a satellite.
Yeah. There's actually like someone. It was a Reddit post. I really should have logged this. I don't know why I didn't in the show notes. But someone actually found a Starlink. I don't want to say development area, but like the actual hardware for a local area for businesses. It's essentially like this little. It looks kind of like a big garden. Like a sectioned off rectangled area that is fenced in with like dark soil looking gravel. But they have like these like balloon-esque satellites. Like imagine a satellite dish, but instead of it being a dish, it actually, complete it into a sphere. Oh God, let me see if I can find it.
So it's like parabolic shaped or oval or oblong, I guess.
I think it's actually fully circular. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember this correctly, I think. But it's like at an angle or something, and it's like the base of it looks like the base of a satellite dish. Just like the dish has been replaced with the ball. Like a really big ball-like thing. Starlink picture. Matter of fact, I think a YouTuber also covered this and shared pictures.
I mean, I've heard that when you connect it, it kind of like auto orients itself in the proper direction to get the satellite feed, which I think is pretty cool. But I guess it makes sense because I remember hearing that there was like a $500 charge for the equipment with a one-time fee, of course. But yeah, I guess that will pack a pretty decent amount of tech for that much.
Oh God, I can't find the photos that I'm looking for. But like it's essentially, because I don't know if they'll also offer like those type the machines that I'm referring to as like for the actual home user. Because the pictures that were leaked was a field of these ball-like things, and these were the receivers to get that satellite connection and etc. But then the machines themselves had cabling that essentially routed to the nearby businesses. So you essentially had like, it makes so much sense. Like, imagine if you have a neighborhood, and rather than having every house with a satellite dish for DirecTV for your cable, or in this case, for internet, you actually had one shared plot of land that tried to get the most optimal signal, and then from there was cable that routed through the ground to each of the houses that utilizes that service. That just makes more sense to me. You condense an area for the users to have one main source, and everything routes off to who needs it or who's a part of it. But I mean, maybe there's some type of logistics that makes that less viable if you're not a business, like for actual homes. But look, I'm not a construction worker. I'm not a real estate agent. I don't know about this kind of stuff.
people kind of already do that. Oh, at least around here, but in my area.
Mhm.
So, or at least with water, that there's some houses that share a well. So one pump and well will be used across like 5 different houses. Then whatever bill they get is split between like the 5 houses.
That's kind of
So it's
cool.
yeah, like a smaller share like that. Well, no, actually, sorry. I'm thinking of something else. Because of course it's like your own well, so you don't need to pay for the water. I meant the taxes for having the well or whatever, because you still get taxed for junk like that, unfortunately. But yeah, that the taxes get split 5 ways, not the water.
Oh yeah, Tesla's making more of their gigafactories, which is cool. Uh, matter of fact, Lewis, let me ask you a question.
All
Do
right.
you think Tesla, as they are now, or how they have been, do you think they should have been able to succeed in making their Tesla cars, and to be as successful as they are today?
Wait. What do you mean? Can you phrase the question?
Like, do you think their success in terms of making the Tesla cars, and being one of the highest rated valued companies, and etc., do you think all of that is warranted? Like, do you think it was actually concrete good decisions, or do you think they kind of also got lucky, or timing, and etc.? Do you think if Tesla had to restart and
Mm-hmm.
build their company over from the ground up again, do you think they would succeed?
Mm, it really depends. I think. Like, are we talking like now? Are we talking 10 years from now? When are you saying they would have to start over?
Just I guess it's kind of hard to actually phrase the question in like the mindset that I'm thinking of, but I'll put it like this, right?
Okay.
Tesla cars, fantastic. Everybody wants one. I want one. They're making more factories to create more cars to deliver on time. They've had years of like users being a little upset that it took them like months to get their Tesla after their initial order, and etc. But then you,
Mm-hmm.
you 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 look at the actual quality of some of the vehicles, right? So let's talk about the Model Y. And so you pay upwards of $35,000 or more, depending on how you want to spec your Tesla out, and you get this car, this
Mm-hmm.
this luxury car that's electric, that has this potential technology for assisted driving. I'm not going to say autopilot because it's not yet autopilot. But then you look at how the body has asynchronous panels. Things don't always line up. Your spoiler is only glued on. Your rims don't align with the actual tire housing for the body. Your the front trunk does not close properly because it's misaligned. Your charging port doesn't close all the way because the encasement is misaligned. Inside the vehicle is arguably, I won't say cheap, but less expensive material. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just all these things. And so when I think about this, as Tesla succeeded and they have these high priced cars, they have these very stipulous requirements to deliver and get a hold of the car, and then the whole Rich Rebuild saga of like trying to own your own car, to modify it, repair it, get things fixed. And even if you're not a modder, if you get into an accident, I mean, even a simple fender bender, and you take your car to get
Mm-hmm.
serviced by Tesla to get the bumper, just the bumper replaced, it takes like 3 to 6 months, right?
Jeez.
How the hell did Tesla succeed?
I see. I see what you're saying now. So, do I think they would succeed if they were to start over? Hmm. Hmm. I think maybe Maybe not. I'm thinking because I'm seeing those other companies, Ford, um, not Mazda, Toyota, and all the big players investing in electric vehicles because they're seeing how well Tesla is taking off. Um, I don't think. Well, I won't say it's going to be impossible. I think it'd be really tough because I think that's where Ford and those bigger companies see as an opportunity to, shelve in their solution for the missing hole that was delivered by Tesla. As why Tesla is successful themselves, I don't know. It could be because the CEO is like pretty charismatic. He's young. He likes memes. He kind of gets involved in the younger culture, the younger generation. He's got a sense of humor. Maybe people don't see him as like a dick. Maybe he's got good marketing as well, because marketing is a huge chunk of it, right? People don't know about your product. If you're not able to justify your decision, like, oh, that cheap panel, that's to save you some money right here. And actually, in an accident, it's actually better because these other cars, this more expensive product, actually worse in an accident. Like, there's different ways you could smooth people in and convince them that what actually you chose to put in your car or in your product is actually better than the competition or more premier or things like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think it would just be tough for them to go back to the original question and start up again.
No, I actually I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I guess to also let the viewers and listeners know that again, I want a Tesla. I personally I want a Model S that is at least 2016, 2017. Um, I love them. I've written in the Model 3. I've written in the Model X. Man, like it's my dream car. But there are things that I do have issues with in terms of like some of their business practices. Right now, they're not that big of an issue in my opinion. But I can totally foresee down the line of 10 years, 15 years, things being in a very weird, awkward situation that I'm just not agreeing with. And we can talk about that in a future episode of like technology of the technological practices of certain companies, and this is also one reason why I'm very worried about Samsung, because I love Samsung devices. I use the Fold 2, but it's essentially, as far as I see it, it's the Apple effect, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse, and I am not liking the projection of the future when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah, no, I got a buddy who's like a big car guy, and he seems to like the tech that goes on with like Tesla and like what they push or whatever. But he told me that he refuses to buy one simply because they require an NDA for whoever's doing repairs, and he feels like there's something sketchy going on there, that maybe the quality or something is not what we think it is, and might just be marketing and just excitement for it. So I mean, like, okay, I understand that angle. If you can't really repair I guess what you eventually will own, because a lot of people are going to lease it.
Oh, also apparently Craig left the chat.
Was it something I said? Come back, Craig.
Hold on. Try changing the server rejoin in server settings error already encoding.
Uh-oh. Well, do you have your personal recording going on?
I do.
Okay, cool.
I mean, and
As
like,
do I.
again, it's part of the process. Like, well, I mean, he also sent me a personal message saying, "I've been unexpectedly disconnected. If you want to stop recording, please command me to with Craig leave." Excuse me. So let me do that. But I'm not recording that. Oh my god! Thanks, Craig. I'm just drilling back up, see what we have. It'll be
now recording.
That never gets old to me. That always creeps me out.
It does, right? Now
Yeah.
recording. Oh god, please no, stop.
We'll work with what we have for the actual post. Again, first episode, we're back, we're rusty, we're doing something new. It's tools of the trade. Make sure my camera's also still recording. Yes, cool. God, where was I? I don't know. Tesla though. Yeah, man. Like I really want to see where Rich rebuilds the electrified garage and those who are on that same journey really take it. Because honestly, if I ever come into a large sum of money where I can just spend stuff on like a custom made vehicle, I'm going to get the body of a what do they call them, a speedback, was it a Mustang Bullet speedback? I think it's the car. Let me double check it. Let's see, Mustang Bullet speedback.
You did speed bag, and I thought of like those like punching bag things.
Yeah. It's a 1968 Ford, Mustang. Oh, fastback, not speedback. Fastback.
Fast bag.
Yeah. I want one of those bad boys. I'll put it in the chat. I want one of those, but replace the engine with batteries, and let's do electric motors for the axles for the wheels, and get me an EV with the body of a Mustang 1968 Bullet fastback, and I'm happy. I'm happy. I can charge it myself. I don't have to be on Tesla's approved accountant, not banned from fast charging type of thing. So I mean, I do say within 20 years, 25 years, we'll have more, hopefully, competition around stuff like that, where more charging networks, But we'll see. We will definitely see.
Oh yeah, we're just waiting for the next big battery technology improvement. That'll just like completely change everything.
Yeah, which apparently, and I want to move on to Apple right now, but apparently Tesla shared a story, or Apple shared a story about how once Elon wanted to go to what's Tim Cook's wanted to have a meeting with him. Yeah, I called him Tim Apple.
I was gonna say
no, because the funny thing,
Bill Windows.
Yeah, Bill Windows. He should really do that. No. In my day job, I actually have a coworker whose name is Tim Cook, but he spells it Cooke. Did I just reveal personal information? No, there should be plenty Tim Cooks. It shouldn't be that hard or that easy to just pinpoint where I work and who I'm talking about. Anyway, but Elon wanted to have a meeting with Tim and say like, hey, I want if you want to buy Tesla, I'm up for it. But apparently, they just never returned his call. They never returned his the communication to have that meeting, and so Apple never bought Tesla, which is kind of funny because they could have had an easy win. Though one could argue that if they sold Tesla to Apple, that the path or the journey that Tesla took would not have been the same, and likely probably not as successful. But neither here nor there. Speaking of Apple. Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
Like legitimately more aptly, because speaking of Apple, them headphones. Have you seen them headphones?
The Airpods Max, the whole over the ear ones? Yeah. What do you think?
Man, okay, look. I'm not gonna lie. I think they look nice. I don't like the little crown twisty button thing, for the no, I mean no, it just doesn't. No. But like the metal casings, the magnetic swappable ear cushions, genius. I don't know about the actual headband. Newsflash, I have dreadlocks. Headbands on headphones don't do diddly squat for me because I can't feel it because my hair is already the cushion between it and the headband. But I hear it's great. And it has to be great because you have those heavy metal, ear pods or the earpieces. So design-wise, I think they're great. Technology-wise, I hear they have some type of 360 audio for certain Apple tech. If you like, only for your iPhone though, for nothing else but your iPhone, which is weird because I'm not gonna be turning my head around when I'm looking at a movie and I'm not gonna watch a movie on an iPhone. But
yeah. Anyway. So I think the little mesh thing. Mm-hmm. Or are you done? Sorry.
Go for it.
Okay, so I think the little headband thing, I think that's pretty neat. It reminds me of those mesh back office chairs. They're pretty comfortable for my back. That's what I was thinking. But then I was thinking, well, I guess I don't really need that support for like my head. My head doesn't really bend like that. So just it's cool aesthetically. The actual cups, I'm not a fan. It's just bubbly apple look, and I figure more. I like more of a squarish look, or I guess just more circular. The whole oblong thing makes me. I don't know. It's weird to me. Like the Beats, they're. I guess their previous attempt at over the ear with this, since they bought them out. I ended up liking that shape of the ear cups a bit better. But I mean, maybe this is more comfortable because it's more like the shape of your ears. Um, yeah, I'm just they're okay. I'm more of like let's see what the sound sounds like. The sound is like, yeah.
Yeah, and to your point, I do agree with the shape of the ear pod, or the actual ear casing. I just like that they made them out of metal. I don't truly know how that feels. I don't have a pair of the AirPod Maxes on me, but when someone described them as they're cold to the touch when they unbox them, I like that. I don't know why. It's the same thing with my new laptop, the Razer Blade 15 2019. If I turn that laptop on and I open the screen, my finger's just the back of the screen area, and it's like that cold metal feeling, and I love it. I have never been one to praise the idea of feeling premium, but no, the concept does exist, and there are certain textures and feelings and things that would make this not PG-13.
It's pretty nice, right? How do you like it so far? I guess you could do a full review later on, but how's the first few weeks of it?
Man, I love it. Like I only have two gripes, just two gripes.
Okay,
One,
okay.
I immediately missed having a touchscreen on a laptop, like just off the bat. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I like touching my screen when you know how when you like open up an application in Windows that needs admin rights.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'd use the same thing. Just like, nope, just gonna touch it. My hand's already right here.
Yeah, and like sometimes
Especially,
your mouse is like in the corner. You don't want to like do two swipes to get
yeah, it's kind of like going from two monitors to one. It's just like, there's something missing here.
And my second gripe is, and forgive me, I always thought that massive trackpads were great, and I still believe that massive trackpads are great, but there's something about the positioning with this size on this body that makes it hard to get accustomed to. And the reason being is I have big hands. When I have my hands rested on the actual base of the laptop, my palms, whenever I'm hovering my middle finger over the space bar, my palms will sometimes just make contact with the trackpad, and so when I use my left hand to do like a 3-finger swipe, it'll sense 4 fingers, or if I do 2-finger swipes, it'll sense 3 fingers, or something else, and I'm zooming in on a web page.
See, actually, that's my favorite time to use the touchscreen. But like when you're zooming in on stuff, I guess you don't have that option right now. So I can sense the irritation.
Yeah. So I mean, this is and also I've only had it for over about 2 weeks now. It's genuinely going to take me a bit of time to get used or reacclimated to a new positioning. I've used my Surface Book for over 5 years, so that I'm really fine-tuned to that. And I guess for viewers listening, the battery in my Surface Book was starting to swell, and I tried to do a self-repair, and I tore a ribbon cable for the digitizer for the touchscreen on it. So right now it's still disassembled, and I do have a ribbon coming in the mail. I'm going to continue to try to repair. I've already replaced the battery. But the battery looks so shoddy. I don't know if the battery will actually work now. I'm like, I looked at it, like $20. I'm like, oh man, I hope you work. I hope you work. So I ended up getting a new laptop, and like it's been a treat. Razer, you guys know. I'm gonna say it here. I'm gonna say it now. The Razer laptops are essentially the Windows equivalent to a MacBook in terms of design, comfort, and like just layout. It's amazing. Sound quality, the IPS matte display, fantastic. Low bezels, it's great. It's mwah. And I think they do make certain Razer Blade laptops with touchscreens. It's just that my model is one without because I was saving money. But I digress.
So to wrap it up, what would you say compared to your last laptop? Is this better, slightly worse, really worse, about the same? Where would you rate it compared to your last one?
I would definitely say significantly better. You know, the only and I I would hope so. Again, I've had that previous laptop, the Surface Book Gen 1, the Gen 1 Surface Book for over 5 years. A new laptop better be better. But again, the only thing the Surface Book Gen 1, my old laptop, has over this one was the fact that 1, touchscreen, 2, I could disconnect the screen from the base and draw on it, and 3, pen support, so I use it to actually draw. Right now, I am like I can't do any digital art right now, and it's okay because I haven't actually been drawing too terribly much for the last year and a half. But I want to get back into it. But it's gonna take some time. I might get a Cintiq, but just not right now.
All right.
So, well, for the video and audio guys listening, I'm gonna say let's take a quick break for a segment. It's an ad segment, but again, we're not sponsored and no one is paying us for an ad. So the ad is from us. Editing Magic Go. If you like superheroes, then I highly recommend you check out our series Behind the League, which covers various different superheroes tied to the DC universe. We've created 3 videos so far, but we're back in the mix of making new content related to the series. Once season 1 of Behind the League has concluded, we will be working on season 1 of Marvelous Beginnings, which is the Marvel equivalents. So you can check these videos out over at youtube.com/essenceofzen and looking for the Behind the League playlist. So what are you waiting for? Go learn about Icon, Nubia, and hardware today. Okay, editing magic done. We're back. I know we're coming up on our normal end time for the show, and I initially wanted to save the end of the show for CES and the Samsung Unpacked. I think it's okay to have it all kind of condensed in a short 5 to 15 minute bit more, only because there really wasn't much showcase that was of excitement from CES, and Samsung's Unpacked event only had like 3 or 4 items, to my knowledge. So, Lewis, did you see anything from CES that caught your eye, or in general?
Oh, I didn't even. I totally forgot, honestly, this year. Because again, I didn't think it was gonna happen, but it did. He told me like, yeah, this is going on. It's just online. Like, oh, okay. So I actually can't answer that question because I did not pay attention. But it's not something that's like it's not something that I didn't expect. New phones. It's always the big thing at CES. New phones, slight upgrades to them. Yeah, Razer comes out with something new. Yeah, not anything that necessarily caught my eye though from the list right here. Yourself?
Yeah. Personally, there were a few things. One, and and again, this item in particular is a concept, but it's from Razer. It's called Project Hazel. It is the Razer face mask, and I thought, okay, one, this is actually kind of cool. I kind of dig this, not just for like the state of the world right now, but also because it just genuinely looks kind of cool, futuristic. If I was on like a spaceship. Like I don't know. It just looks sci-fi. It looks cool. It's just cool points. But Project Hazel is a smart face mask. It has a silicone nose covering, so you don't have air blowing back to fog glasses. You have filter nozzles on the face mask that actually has filters that you can change in and out of. Has a built-in mic to amplify your speech so people can hear you clearly or more clearly to understand what you're saying. And it has a transparent front case so people can see you talk, which for me, I don't want, because I have braces, and like right now I have I put rubber bands in to keep the do the overbite correction, which right now for the camera I don't have them in because they snapped literally right before recording, and I just haven't gone to put new ones in yet. But I digress. It's just super cool. However, I don't know if this will actually become a real thing, and the reason being is COVID is not going to last forever. Hopefully, we would not end up in a Fallout or what's the other post-apocalyptic game? Stalker, where you got to wear a face, or Metro Last Light, Metro 2877. I forget. I don't Metro. Where you got to wear a face mask when you go out into the surface because the air is not breathable. So.
Okay, I admit this one's pretty neat. So I would consider buying it if it wasn't like clear, if it was just all darkened.
Yep.
If they had like a voice changer option on there, and I don't know, maybe I'd configure it so I could sound like Bane.
Lewis is gonna rob a store.
Hello there, Batman. It is you who are the weakness to the darkness.
Oh my god. I could totally do that. Go somewhere, wear that, have someone else wear a Batman mask. I'll break the bat. Then I'll get kicked out of the store indefinitely. But it might be pretty funny.
This is an actual topic that I saw people kind of concerned about. Apparently, when CES stated that they were going to actually go through with their virtual event, some people were actually worried that they would see just a bunch of concepts, a bunch of technology that was like, oh, COVID-19, and essentially trying to make a quick buck on a pandemic. And to be fair, this can fall within that category. However, I do think the actual utilization of this is one of great merit, because to be fair, and I think it's possible, I don't think it will happen, but it is possible for the U.S. culture to become more sensitive to, how should I phrase this? Just sickness in general. So if you look at Japan, before COVID-19, just before COVID-19, nearly every winter you would see people wearing face masks because they were afraid to get sick from the flu or just a general cold or etc. Or if they were sick themselves, they use a face mask to prevent them spreading their germs. It is a cultural element in Japan to wear face masks during cold season. Now in the U.S., I might pick up that type of culture shift. Like 2 years from now, when COVID is completely out of our minds, every winter I might go out with a face mask because I might not want to get sick, or if I'm sick, I don't want to make other people sick. This can actually fit that bill quite nicely, and if they do come out with it, I can see it selling well in Japan. But again, that's my assumptions. I'm not a marketer or a sales expert, etc. I'm also making some very base general claims on the Japanese culture. It's true that they wear face masks in the winter season, but it doesn't mean that they'll want to buy a Razer face mask themselves for like high tech coolness. But I think they will, and personally, I would too.
I think they might need to put like those little displays on them that like you can change the text on. That might be a little bit better.
No,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. That again, if it wasn't transparent and actually had like an LED front that you can program to do like displays or like text or anything. Yes. Louis, you're a genius.
I just don't see the need for the transparent the facing. Like you got the voice amplifier. Why didn't you see your mouth? I don't like it.
Yeah, I agree with you personally, but I have found, because my mom works at Best Buy, and so she herself deals with customers on a daily basis, and so apparently apparently like there are other people who have made comments about this too. Some people just feel more comfortable when they can see like smiles or actually a more applicable situation. If someone is deaf, they can reach your lips if they can see them.
Okay, I could see that.
I just thought about that. So I don't know. I'm with you though. I personally I like just cover it all. Don't see my braces and like just cool factor, you know. But yeah, the other thing that really interested me out of CES were the AMD laptops. Like legit, AMD Ryzen has been out for a minute. You know, we're on like 3rd or 4th generation coming up soon. Laptops are finally hitting heavily with AMD CPUs for laptop and mobile, and it's great to see. Asus, I think ASRock, and there was a few. I can't remember the other laptop manufacturers, but like they've released a suite of AMD powered laptops. You know, Asus has their dual screen. Essentially, the brother to the, I think they call it. Oh crap! What was it? Was like the Asus Asra
I think I've heard of that.
dual screen laptop. Hold on, let me. It's Asus.
Yeah, I think it was
something with an
showcased
A.
last year.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry,
Linus,
not
I think.
Asra. It's Zephyrus.
Yeah. There you go. That's the gaming section ones. Zephyrus.
So so Zephyrus Duo was the one like from a year ago or 2 years ago, one of them. So they just came out with the brother to the newer version of that, which is AMD powered, and it's the Asus Zenbook Duo, which is a little bit lower powered for people who don't want just maximum gaming, but it still has the dual screen, it still has some decent power behind it, etc. That's cool. And I know some people will be thinking, if these are the only two things that really interested you, but Zane, you like foldable devices, you like folding screens, you bought a folding screen device yourself. Why not the scrollable devices from LG and TCL? And I'll be blunt with you. I love the concept of a rolling phone because you get to have the standard traditional form factor of a chocolate bar cell phone that can still enlarge into a tablet or a mini tablet like length. The problem is malleable screens in terms of folding or rolling are not glass. So when you have a rolling screen phone, even in its default chocolate bar form factor, the screen is exposed. So when you put it in your pocket, your less durable screen is still exposed to the elements of your pocket. What makes the Fold 2 so great, and the Fold 1 for that matter, is the screen on the outside is glass, and you can close it to protect the sensitive inside screen. And so if your rollable screen is always showing, I mean, you have the same issue with the Huawei Mate X, which is fantastic in theory, fantastic on paper. When you have to put it in a pocket, different story. So,
what do you think about those rollable TVs that they have that they've been showcasing for a few years now? I believe they're also LG.
super cool. I have no idea where in a home I would have a rollable TV that actually makes sense to be rollable.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a cool thing, but I don't think I'd ever roll it down. Like, what's the point? I'm gonna probably use it the next day. Like, I don't know. I don't see it.
They might be great for businesses, like if you go to a restaurant that has like the booth seating, and you can just click a button and the TV rolls up and you can watch TV or a movie in the restaurant. Maybe. But for a home device, for the normal consumer, I have no idea. So I mean there was more at CES, but those are the main things that really stood out to me. Oh, actually, there was one rollable device, which was it was a weird rollable scroll, where it's like a like a kind of like a pipe. Lewis, you can't see this, but like on the camera, I'm showcasing a sword. Matter of fact, for those who are astute, it is Shusui from One Piece, Zoro's sword that he just gave back in Wano, the Black Blade. But it was like a scroll device that was a little shorter than this, and you could pull out a rollable screen and then just see a bunch of information, map, elevation, air quality, etc. Stuff like that. That was cool. again, I wouldn't have a need for it, but if I was a hiker, if I was someone who did topography, work for the state, the government, or etc., and I had to go out into these wilderness areas, maybe check on wildlife, it would be nice to have a quick and easy roll up screen that can go in my backpack. I can pull it out, unfold it. It'll do GPS satellite connection, show me where I am, and then your location has these animals, these wildlife, these planta. What is it? The plant kingdom. I think it's Plantae, right?
I don't know.
PLAT.
It's been years since I looked at this.
Yeah, I think it's PLANTAE. I think. Yeah, Plantae. The Plantae kingdom. Yeah, it's essentially foliage. What type of grass and weeds and weeds? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Exist in that area. That's cool, but again, you have very niche uses for that. While I say that, please still make it. Cool tech is still cool tech.
Indeed.
Craig is still going good. Okay.
Oh, there was one thing. Well, I don't remember. I don't know if it's on at CES. But I did hear that the Kindle will get a color screen this year. I thought that's pretty neat.
Ooh, like will it still be e-ink?
Yeah, I believe it's still going to be e-ink. It's just going to be colored e-ink.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's hot.
I think that would be pretty cool for people who like to read like comics and stuff like that, or just like color.
I will say, if an e-ink tablet gets color, I will be more inclined to grab it to read comics and magazines and things. But I still worry, because one of the things that I like about like when reading is quickly transitioning to the next page for like a comic or a graphic novel. And typically the e-ink refresh rate is not good.
Bet that battery life though.
Oh yeah, true.
Like a whole month.
True. Like right now, my Fold 2 still holds up more than a day, even when I read manga. Like just, ooh, I brought up a new chapter. Okay, sorry, I saw a new chapter thing that I'm reading. Okay, yeah, dude, no, like e-ink in general is just super cool, and they're more affordable. So the tech that increases with it can become like, I don't know. I think about like school use, right? Where instead of having kids lug around textbooks for math class, lit class, history class, science class, they can just get like school e-ink tablets,
Yeah, not have to carry the books all around, hurt their back.
Yeah.
That'd already be a big plus.
Yeah, dude, I have scoliosis. I found out like 3 or 4 years ago, right? I went to a chiropractor because like they came to our job trying to find clients. Day job, by the way, for the viewers and listeners. And so I signed up for a free massage and a free X-ray and a free yada yada yada. And it turns out that while my upper back is straight as a fiddle, my lower back has some really weird curvings in it. And I think you remember like a few years ago online, there was like a very popular shared image of like why men should not carry wallets in their back pockets.
Oh yeah, the George Costanza wallet joke. Yeah, that joke's kind of gone on for like generations.
I think it might have some merit to it though. Because I used to carry my wallet in my back left pocket for years. I would be like noticeably uncomfortable when driving in my car or sitting at my chair at work, etc. And apparently the way that my lower back shifted and bent, it seems to be in a perfect angle perpendicular to where my wallet was held at.
Oh no! How long have you been doing that for? Like since you were like a teenager and whatnot?
Oh yeah. I mean, like, dude, like 9 years. If not more. Like I say 8 and 9 because that's when my wallet actually had some size to it. Like I had cards and things. But I'm older now, Louis. I'm not running track. I'm not doing marching band in high school anymore. Which Also, marching band screwed up my knees and probably also helped freak up my back. But that's a whole other story. Anyways, I miss this. I miss getting off topic and rolling off two tangents. There's something holy about it. I don't know. It's a holy trinity. So, final topic for the podcast, listeners and viewers. Samsung Unpacked. So, mainly 3 things were announced at Samsung's Unpacked event, and that was okay, when I say 3 things, it's more than 3, but some of the multiple things kind of fall under the same item. And by that, I mean you got the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro, or Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro? Pro? Is that it? Yeah, Buds Pro. I'm using the Buds Live, which came with the folding devices and the Note 20 and the S20, that generation of earbuds. I'm using them for the podcast right now. I hear Lewis through these buds. I love them. They're great, but I digress. They came with the Pro version of it, and they supposedly have better noise cancellation. They seal off noise via the silicone tips when they fit into the ear. They're buds. What can I say? They also released the showcase the Samsung Galaxy S21, which I gotta admit, I am actually a fan of the design. I dig the design. And of course, with the S21, you got the S21, S21 Ultra, and I think the S21 Pro or another one that's going to come out at a later date this year, most likely. I think. Yeah, who knows?
So yeah, when I saw the design for the S21, it's different. It almost looks like a cyborg. With just with the back camera thing, it looks like a cyborg. And where's a good picture? I guess this is as close I could get, just because of the unevenness in it. Come on, there you go.
Yeah, my boy Ray Fisher. Ooh. No, yeah, you're absolutely right, and to be fair, when I saw the leaks came out 2 weeks ago, two or 3 weeks ago. I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. But then I look at the back of my Fold 2, and I look at the Note 20 and the S20, and I keep looking at those camera humps and how they just jut out from the back.
Yeah.
Then I look at this, and it's like they actually incorporated that bump with the design function or the design choices of the device, and I go, "That's smart. That's actually kind of unique. That's actually kind of hot. That's." If I'm gonna have a bump, I'd rather it be like this, designed with the phone, not just, I don't know, an island of hump.
Okay, good, fair point. It might. Well, if it ever breaks, it might be a little bit tough to fix. But I mean, again, like most people will put a case on it. So I mean, I probably won't really care that much if I ever were to get this one. Yeah, because I would just slap a case on it, then I wouldn't really see it.
That's actually a fair point. I don't know how that would shift or change the repairability. And to be fair, these devices are already hard to repair in general because of the glass back, the super industrial strong adhesive that they use to bind the back.
It's quite annoying.
Yeah.
I don't think I have to remind you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I don't think I have to remind you about strong adhesive, man.
For those who are wondering what he means by that, the Surface Book or my Surface Book Gen 1, me dismantling it, I complained to Lewis for like a solid 30 minutes in text, pure text, of my disdain of getting the screen separated from the body. And then after that, having to pull the battery. The battery is super industrial adhesivized to the back of the panel of the magnesium alloy body. Why is the battery? Why is that? Oh, God. Microsoft, I love you. I love the Surface devices. My God, if you want to make a device that hard to repair, I get you. I can even give you a pass on adhesive for the screen to the body, but why the battery? Why the battery? And then you complain about safety features. You complain about the battery being dangerous to replace because the battery can, have a circuit discharge or a runaway discharge. So one should not miss. Then why did you glue it so heavily? When you try to remove the battery, you tear holes in the metal casing of the battery. You yourself are making it dangerous. Oh.
Well, actually, I think they wrap it in layers usually, so it might be fine, but still a little bit scary though when you're doing it.
It is like I tore holes in it, but the holes are to the outer exterior, like metal aluminum casing of it. But like the point still stands. Like when you have a battery and you start tearing into it, and I will admit, I was getting some type of chemical smell from it, but.
Oh no, I remember one day trying to remove a battery. I forget from what. It might have been from one of my old phones or something that I was just taking apart. And I used like a metal spatula. Learn not to do that. And so eventually like I saw like some smoke. I'm like, wait a minute, where's that? Oh my God. And then I rush outside, just throw it out there like in the dirt and just wait until it stops. And then I throw it away. But like, oh my God, this thing's gonna blow up in my house.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so what I'm about to say is not fully proven from me. So I don't know if it's 100% accurate. So please do not take this as a, well, Zane said it, so it must be true. So I watch a good amount of people who do makeshift power walls or battery packs, basically making their own battery modules. And so apparently one dude stated that one guy had a runaway circuit. So, runaway discharge. And so the battery was catching on fire, burning, overheating, and etc. And they dumped it into a bucket of water. And so a lot of people was like, why would you put an electronic device, batteries, electricity, into a bucket of water for the fire? And the guy I was watching, I will put his name up on the screen in a video version of the podcast. I'll probably also edit in his name later. I think he's Australian. I don't know. He stated that that's actually probably the smartest thing that they did, because when you're dealing with a battery fire, it's probably not going to actually be contained just by using like a fire extinguisher, because the chemicals on the fire extinguisher deals with the flames, yes, but you still have to deal with the actual circuits running awry, and they're still going to be outputting energy and power and electricity, thus wanting to start another fire and still maintaining the heat of it. By putting it in a water, you completely just short everything out. So, you probably still need to have a fire extinguisher on hand to handle the fire, whatever. But by putting it in water, it shorted everything. So the runaway discharge stopped, and it was actually able to cool and stop whatever type of, what area in the battery array was causing the heat to combust. And I was like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. Because in my head, I was thinking too, why would you dump it in water? That's dangerous. Like, right. No, it's actually probably the quickest and fastest way to completely disarm the battery. So
yeah, that's interesting. That's good to know, because I'm always hearing like, don't mix lithium with water, it could explode.
I do think that's true as well. But I think runaway I keep saying circuit, the runaway discharge, it assumes that the battery is not exposing the chemical elements. So again, I'm not a battery expert, and I'm not a chemist, a scientist when it comes to the chemistry of lithium ion batteries and etc. I'm just passing on what I've heard in a YouTube video. Maybe I'm adding to misinformation. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. I talked about the S2E1. In the show notes, we have the information about the cameras. I don't really care about the cameras, to be honest with you. I think we talked in season 1, my opinion about cameras on a smartphone. If it's good, great. If it's not, oh well. The phone is the phone. So, Do you have any additional things you want to talk about, bring up, and or mention in relation to Samsung and or something else?
No, I got nothing else.
Ditto. Let me double check from Samsung to see if they got anything else they wanted to. I know they still haven't released their Bixby speaker, and I don't think that thing is ever coming out.
Bixby.
You know, in all honesty, Bixby isn't that bad. It's not. It's not as great as Google AI or whatever they call their thing. You know, GN.
Google Assistant.
No. Okay. Thank you. I was about to say don't say hello or hey because I don't want to trigger people's stuff. But yeah, it just lacks an overall polish, and then lacking that polish while being forcefully integrated into your Samsung devices is just a no. But I will say, right now, Samsung's Bixby's alarm, where you can say, hey, I want this specific alarm to tie into a Bixby morning rundown. And so every morning I'm looking up to my normal sound effects, and then Bixby goes to then tell me the news related to, from Google, from Washington Journal, from Fox News, from CNN, from NPR. This is like the top 5 or top 8 news headlines for that morning. And I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. Google doesn't do that. I don't think Siri does that. Hey, Samsung, you did something pretty good. Now, if you could just fix your other stuff.
I think, well, the Google Home does do that, but you have to give like a trigger word. You have to say like, hey, so-and-so, good morning, and then it'll start reading all that. But there's that additional step of telling it. It's not after the alarm is silenced. So, yeah, it's not exactly like that. For Alexa, I'm not sure. Oh, I already said the name.
Yeah, I have Amazon stuff around here. I think you can't say give me the news or what's new or something like that, and I think she'll do the same thing. But again, look, my dream is within the next 5 to 15 to 20 years, we'll have technology that is easily accessible, easily obtained, and easily modifiable to have our own home assistant, like our own set hosted assistant that is just as comparable to Google, just as comparable to Amazon, and just as comparable to Samsung. Now, I would love it if we were able to carve out some time to do the programming to make that happen. I don't think we'll be the ones to do it. I will probably set some time off to actually throw my hand into it because I am working on some personal home automation AI stuff. But just in general, it's probably never gonna reach the height of Google's stuff. But if you make it open source and you put it out there and people go, hey, I like this. I wanna help with this. Probably will. To date, we have I think Home AI, Home AAS, I think Home or HASS, Home as a Service. I think is the term for it. I think that's it. Can't remember. But stuff are out there that you can take part in if you like it and etc. I've tried some of them. Some of them aren't going in the direction that I like personally, which is why I'm kind of taking the Python approach of if you don't have a programming language that you like, make one yourself. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt, and I could probably make some fun and get some skill sets and stuff out of it. So, there it is. However, we've been talking for way too long. This is Season 2, Episode 1 of Essence of Zen After Dark. My goodness, has 2021 been a hell of a year already. I'll just leave it there. I hope you, the viewers and listeners, are safe, healthy, staying positive, drinking water, and just trying to make the best of the day that you can. I know there's a lot of people suffering. I know a lot of places are kind of going through it in multiple ways, especially New York. I hear from Louis Rossman. Rent there is oh boy.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. Like again, I feel for you all, and I just hope everyone is just doing their best to survive. That's humanity in a nutshell, man. Our species, in my opinion, probably should not have made it to where we are today. And the only reason why we're here, in my opinion, is because we have been shown to survive against some remarkable odds. And I think every single one of you, as well as us, me, myself, my wife, Lewis, his family, will survive because it's what we do. If you've lost someone close to you, regardless of whatever situation, my condolences. Stay strong, stay powerful, and just hang in there. Again, Lewis, any last words?
Stay safe, guys. And take care.
All right.
Persist.
There you have it, Mac Daddy Lando Sando. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Lando. I meant Louis Sando. I'm sorry. Mac Daddy Louis Sando says be safe. So it means be safe. If you like the video version of this podcast, let me know. If you have ideas of how to improve, let us know. Again, this is all new. So, critiques and advice are warranted. I've been your host, Zane, is going to call me Blaylock, joined with my co-host, Lewis, that Biscuit the K, Louis Sandoval. We will see you all in the next episode, which will likely be in a week or two. So, much love, everybody. Bye-bye. Hopefully Craig is like, oh, I'm still here this time. I'm doing my job. Oh. Essence of Zen After Dark is a podcast made for and by geeks and nerds for all things geeks and nerd culture. The intro and outro songs were provided by ProLeader, who you can find their music at proleader.bandcamp.com. That's PROLETER.bandcamp, one word, .com. Thank you.